grow as a grower? Are you tired of being put to sleep by your educational growcasts? Are you tired of hearing about products you don't fucking want and can't afford? Hi, I'm Johnny Apple, and joining me is everyone's favorite amphibian, the Reverend Pirate Fog. Join us as we sift through the bullshit on the internet and try to get better as growers. This is your average grow.
Hey, dude.
Hey, man, what's up?
Not much. Long time that it's just been you and I, man. Long time that it's just been you and I. That doesn't make sense.
Feels awkward.
It's because I'm garbage at speaking.
And I've got nothing to say.
Oh, it's okay. It's as usual. Welcome to Your Average Grow. I don't think I've ever done that, have I?
I don't think so. No.
Fuck it.
We can get past it though. We can move right on.
No. We'll quit. Let's
We'll
never
ignore
try
it.
ever again.
We'll ignore it.
I feel too professional now. I might even ask people to go rate and review. No, I'm just kidding. What's been going on in your life, man? We've had a lot of conversations, but not just you and I.
I just life-wise is just busy. Just fucking caught up in the new job, fucking trying to get my house fucking modeled and finished, and just
man, influencing the next generation of tradesmen is hard work. I get it. Shaping young minds with your propaganda. It's tough work,
especially for an average person like me. I mean, I take that same approach with like everything. It's like, how do you teach?
Yeah, you're really big on the neglect tech, especially.
Yeah, neglect tech. Exactly.
You're supposed to learn whether I teach you or not. No, no, I meant more along the lines of. I meant more along the lines. I know we've talked about your garden and last time a little bit on the circle, but I've got a few questions. I don't know if you want to touch briefly and catch everyone else up on what you got going in your garden currently.
I feel like so. Yeah, I feel like almost. I mean, everything came down for a while, so it's kind of only been the White Widow is the only thing I really have going. So it was like a moment of I don't have much fucking going on. So I kept just being like, and we haven't had a you and I for me to just sit here and ramble about all the other shit that's like garden related and what have you. So it's just been like I don't know, like it's like my cannabis garden has been neglected.
There you go. Yeah.
Neglect tech.
Yeah.
It's been like
I got it. Yeah, I mean you get busy. So, you got going on. But the last time we did mention, or you mentioned, that you were fighting thrips with your White Widow, and you were gonna go crazy with the worm castings. And I believe you posted a picture of her freaking feeder roots and everything. And you've dumping a bunch of worm castings, right?
Yeah. So all right, let's bring it way back. Way back to like fall, when fall ended in the fucking orchard here. We had like a lot going on that I was trying, trying to button up a chicken coop and their run and get the leaves shredded up to make leaf mold and like harvest and save seeds, and winter comes out of nowhere. You get these random freaking snowfalls. So basically where I ended off is, so now as far as outdoor garden goes, I've got like, we saved almost all of the butternut squash seeds from Alebrije's heirloom butternut squash. I'm saying a lot. That's super annoying. I'm fucking like, shut up, dude.
Well, you can't. You're on a podcast, so I thought you were doing very well. So yeah, you saved his butternut squash from his famous pumpkin pie.
Yeah, so we saved all of them. Even saved all the butternut. We got it chopped up. Jess and my sister made a bunch of soup with it. So the way it was described to me is it tastes like Thanksgiving. So I can't wait to taste that soup.
Well, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, I can't
Just a
exactly.
bowl of
I don't even.
Thanksgiving.
I have been when she said that. It was like I can't even imagine. Is it ham? Is it turkey? What did they put in it? So I'm super curious. And they canned it all, so I can't wait to try it.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Alebrije sponsoring not only our tents and our podcast, but now your diet.
Thanks once again, dude.
No, but seriously, he speaks very highly of his butternut squash. So I'm excited to hear your final kind of like taste test, because Thanksgiving in a bowl sounds fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
I can't
is
wait.
by far the best meal. Although
Absolutely
you don't like
can't
turkey
wait.
because you're a terrible person.
I do. It's just no, I do. I like turkey. I like ham. I just we were in the
What'd you have for Thanksgiving?
This year we did not do a turkey because
Yeah,
it was kind of
that's right.
last minute at home. So we did
Last minute Thanksgiving came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that
no, we
yearly
stayed home.
tradition.
We stayed. Yeah, we stayed home last minute.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
We did tenderloin steaks. So
I bet you there's a lot of people that would much prefer that to turkey.
they
I'm
came
not
out
one of
quite
them.
amazing. I was quite happy with the results of that.
Just because you're an excellent cook, dude.
I didn't manage to get a 1-to-1 butter to potato weight ratio, but I got a 2-to-1. So
you didn't have the time. You couldn't possibly have converted any more effort into it.
No.
Yes, that sounds wonderful.
And just so you know,
ask.
you can't the next morning you can't take those butter-ridden potatoes and make potato cakes. Just so everyone's clear, the butter immediately separates. It was just like, yeah, I wasn't supposed to be in here. I don't know how you got me here, Stony. You're creative. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Often, I'm sure in this life, people have woke up the next day wondering how Stony has done it again.
So yeah, that was fun. Anyways, so
but that was all a side note to talk about this amazing Thanksgiving in a bowl. So for the rest of the podcast, let's go over what we think.
No,
I do like it though.
At the ending of the garden, right? So I saved all of those. So at the ending of the garden, my tongue twisting. Ending the garden this year was a little more creative because we've got chickens. I've started the compost pile. I got my worms that are raging. So it was like, this seems way less intimidating this year. It seemed I have a place for everything. So it was kind of like shutting it down and it all went into the compost. Nice. I felt good about it and saved the seeds, or at least the fruit thereof for the seeds. Like the giant pumpkins, I never even carved them until just like 3 days ago, maybe. I took a big axe to it and it was nice and soft. It was just like swoop, sloop, sloop, and just carved out in every groove and just lifted these big. And by the way, the worms got a big chunk of that.
I bet they were happy.
Pumpkin. They seem to be loving
population. It. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
I wanted to point out how much of a professional you are, because one of the questions that I wanted to ask you about your garden and what it pertains to was I wanted to ask how you're saving your pumpkin seeds, because you shared a couple of photos of that, and I'd love to know more and what your plans are.
So I was talking to Artificial about, as I was harvesting them, actually, I asked him, I was like, so did you like rinse yours and what was your idea? And he like bunched them up and saved them there for a couple of days and then laid them out over paper towels in like a single seed layer method.
Okay.
And I was like, that seems okay, but I feel like I've got the basement to maintain like a good moisture level. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to try rinse them. And then I laid them out on a sheet pan over wax paper and like a single layer, and then just kept them in the basement because my basement's cool and damp. And it's like, yeah, they'll dry out low and slow. And these seeds are huge.
Are they? I've seen the pictures, but I have nothing to compare it to. They do look large, but I'm excited.
Say they're probably the size of a quarter, maybe.
Damn.
Yeah, they're pretty damn big. It's impressive.
I do. I know that you're saving them because you want to have others grow it, but how hard is it not to roast them and at least try?
Not that hard because I got 2 other giant pumpkins out there to do it with.
That's fair. Your
So
pumpkin cup runneth over.
These seeds, and I was expecting a little bit more, but there wasn't that many seeds, surprisingly. Maybe 200 if I had to guess in the whole 152-pound pumpkin.
Wow. I would.
Yeah, I was.
It seems like when you carve a pumpkin, the one thing you have a lot of is seeds.
Yeah, and it was surprising. Maybe it's because they put so much effort into big seeds. There's less of them, but yeah, I was surprised at how few there actually was in this giant thing. I have yet to go out there and axe up the other 2. Now, this one, the 152, remember, was pollinated with the trash pumpkin.
The trash pumpkin, that's right.
So these are a fresh new start to who knows what.
Can I make a request? When you become a world famous pumpkin grower, can you maintain
not gonna happen.
that after you grow a pumpkin and you're done for the season, that the proper term to remove or dispose of a pumpkin is to axe it? I think that would be fantastic. Just as like, season's over, time to go axe all my goddamn pumpkins. I think that is wonderful. And I think if you are thinking about, what do I do with these giant trash pumpkins? Just axe them.
That's literally what happened. It was just like, they're big. I mean, they're got to be huge. So what am I going to do? Take a fucking turkey carver? I was like, no, I got an axe down in there for chopping logs into kindling. So I went and grabbed that thing and just slice with the axe. Couldn't have been any more beautiful with these giant
All you have
pumpkins.
to do is pop down to your murder basement, grab your murder axe, and go to, what did you call it? I gave away the lead. Your basement to get your log axe. Go axe some pumpkins.
Yeah.
But I do your
have,
chickens get any?
They've gotten every pumpkin except for the giant pumpkin seeds. No.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
No, these are all for next year for sharing as many as I can, and we'll do a bigger pumpkin grow together or something.
Yeah. No, I wasn't insinuating that you fed the seeds to the chicken. I was just curious if because so you've got the worms and the chicken.
Oh, I gave them a big chunk of pumpkin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did they have a favorite of the ones that you grew, or was it all just gone so quick that you're like, fuck it, who knows?
Yeah, I usually throw it in there and just walk away. I never remember. The birds are kind of Jess's thing, so old Johnny just goes in there every once in a while, kicks the rooster around.
Gotta always having to slap the cock.
Gives him a treat. Gotta slaps the cock around a little bit, gives the hens a treat, and moves on about his day.
Sounds lovely.
But so ending the garden this year was so much less intimidating, even though I expanded so much this year. It was way less intimidating. Like, it felt like so much less work. It's kind of like this is easier. Like, I have something to do with it, and it's like I'm not sitting here feeling anxiety over what I got to do with it. It's like I know what I got to do. I just got to do it. So just go do it. That's easier. Whereas like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna do this? And how am I gonna save that? It's like, nah, just go do it.
And from my perspective, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you made your outdoor section this year much more your style too, and kind of planted it the way you wanted to plant it, with things that you wanted to plant like in certain areas, and you just had a lot more fun with it. But it seems like you weren't like doing what you thought you should. You were just doing what you wanted.
Exactly. Yep. It's just like, this seems like fun. We were just grabbing stuff around the yard, and it's like, this seems like a pretty good place for something.
Yeah. No, and what I did want to ask, I wanted to make note that I think the majority of that would be because of the positive influence of your better half. Huge shout out to her. But I wanted what plans for next year's garden do you want to maintain? Do you want to even like upgrade or do more, or were you content and you want to ride it another season, or having just freshly chopped basically and put everything into winter, which is still something that I need to come to terms with. It's so wild. But when you do that, now that you've gone to freshly gone out of the gardening scene, do you have plans next year?
I think the plans are gonna start at the browsing through the seed catalog in the next few weeks.
There you go. Okay.
You know, like, okay, that's
See what
really
catches
where
your
it
eye.
starts. Like, exactly. Like, all right, we got a
Mhm.
baseline. I'm sick of growing tomatoes in that same
Bed.
bed every year. So it's like,
It's
all right, well, maybe I move the tomatoes somewhere different. I stopped, like, I had tomatoes growing wild throughout my yard, and I was worried about my soil pissing them off because of all the black walnuts. But I
Mhm.
had places where it was like they were growing wild right next to a black walnut stump.
Yeah,
So
you're
it's
like,
like, all right.
okay. I guess I
Yeah,
was worrying for
exactly.
nothing.
Yeah. So there's obviously some that can withstand it. So maybe I'll play around with that, and who knows? Because it's not like tomatoes are a detriment to our diet around here, realistically.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
it was
you
kind of
can
a stepping stone to gardening. It's a fun fruit that grows relatively easy, and
yeah, and you can nerd out on it if you want. You can do all kinds of crazy shit.
yeah,
Grow them upside down.
I want to nerd out on the
That
pumpkins a little more than
I'm
anything else.
excited for that. Yeah, that's cool. I liked your like herb garden that you cut into the lawn and stuff. So it is really cool seeing you branch out, and I look forward to it.
Yeah.
What would and I'm always laughing that I'm turning this cannabis podcast into a it's literal breakdown of your outdoor garden, but this is fun for me. So who cares? What would you say other than pumpkins? Because that was the obvious fun answer. What was your biggest success of the garden, or something like what did you like the most? I know you had success with loofah and all that other stuff, but what was kind of other than pumpkin your second your silver?
Uh, hmm. The butternut squash was really fun because I planted a bunch of them and just kind of let them go to see what would happen.
Hmm.
And seeing like the different colors, and then having the traditional like white butternut looking squash, and then having some that had like green waves, almost like it was crossed with a pumpkin at some point or something, but still that traditional butternut. It's like, this is some heirloom esque fucking
That's pretty
butternut.
cool.
And that was
Yeah.
what, yeah. So that and the loofah was really fun to watch, and everybody around here was really interested in it. It's like, what is this now? Now I did get a little bit of rot because trying to grow it or trying to dry it out, it developed like some mold or mildew, but it just made it darker. Like, it
Yeah.
seems they still are decent. They're sponges. They're just,
Yeah, exactly. You're going for the inside anyway, right? Like
yeah, and
I
it's
can't
like
imagine.
you can have like a really white one and a really fresh fruit, I guess. They're a little bit whiter. Mine are darker because they got some like mildew and shit on it, but it's like, well, they're gonna get fucking dirty and shit anyway, so who fucking cares?
Yeah, I mean their job is to scrub, right?
And they're actually cool as shit. Like, I've never gone to the store, grabbed one, and thought, oh, I'm gonna use this. This is gonna be fun. It's like, oh yeah, those are pretty cool. I know what that. I guess I get it. And then actually seeing it and holding it and running it underwater and putting it in soap, and it's like, this is fucking pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. You know, Association for Free Weed had a really successful year with Lufa too, and he had this beautiful trellis set up, and he gave me one, and so I'm really excited to try this next year to grow it. But they're rad, man. I think it's super cool that anytime that you can grow something that you'll use.
Hell yeah. So, but yeah, oh, the apple trees, those are exciting to see grow. And I mean, everything's fun out there, but
Yeah, no, I appreciate the answers, man. It was a
yeah,
good season. I'm excited to see what you do next year.
yeah.
But yeah,
So,
so
but
that I back to the I guess we can touch a little bit on the pumpkins before because I shunned you, but you had a lot of success. You want to do get other people to grow them and stuff, man. How are you gonna do next year? Are you gonna just go more? Are you gonna keep the because you were covering all your roots with castings, right? Or all the runners, right?
yeah, so the main vine, I just kept covering it
That's
up
right.
with compost and top dressing, like a craft blend at one point, and Coast of Maine something or other, like a flower blend from Coast of Maine. Went
Yeah, and it
through
was
like
super cool because it like
5
took
pounds
over
of
your
that, or
lawn. Yeah.
yeah. So the plan is going to be similar to that. Artificial and I were talking, like, he sent me some really big pumpkin, like 1,000-pound seeds or something, maybe even more. and we were talking and
That's
we came up with
insane.
like this idea, like maybe not grow those ones out to try and get 1,000-pound pumpkin, but keep working this 152 times trash pumpkin line with the male flowers of the bigger pumpkin lines. Like just take the pollen off of those bigger pumpkins to use as males for these smaller pumpkins and see what we can come up with instead of trying to grow those ones out. Just see what we can keep doing with this one kind of deal.
Grow them naturally, right? Try and see how big you can get it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, let's just keep the 152 or prize winner times trash and see what we can keep doing by, I don't know, playing with different stuff. Like see what this one does this year, and next year we got 3 different ones or something, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where we're going with that, is makeshift pumpkin breeding.
Hell yeah, man. I love that.
Yeah. Like
That's good,
I
man.
guess small level, big small time. Like, well, let's call it featherweight pumpkin division.
Feather, there you go. You're going
Featherweight division.
The,
We want to
you
be
want the
featherweight
exciting,
pumpkin
quick
breeders. Yeah.
There you go. That's what a life achievement goal.
Basically, now let's see how big we can get beyond 152 with the same line we've started with.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
I like
But
it. It's
anyway,
like
so
it's like trying to. It's like, you know, you're working out without any help. Trying to do
Yeah.
it without the outside influence of a proven genetic that'll get big. See what you can take it to in just that line.
exactly.
But
it is fun because then I get to take these big ass pumpkin chunks and bring it into the worms and feed the chickens, and the worms love it. So imagine this like 6-inch wide by 24-inch long by 4 inches thick chunk of pumpkin coming down on top of you. And it's been frozen at one point. Also, the weirdest thing when when I was harvesting the seeds, I showed Artificial this. There was one that I had a tail on and 2 that straight germinated and were turning green inside the pumpkin.
wow.
It is December 20th as of today when we're recording this. So
Yeah.
I can't even imagine like how much sun is getting through this. Like, who knows when it could have happened and it realized like, oh shit, I'm too early. It could have been early on in the development, but like, how long does it take for a seed to, number one, mature inside of a rotting pumpkin, right? Which, by the way, hasn't even started to rot. It didn't even rot. It like froze and got mushy. So
I was gonna, what's a good sign at the very least is that it wants to live.
Yeah, that's insane.
Back to the horrifying idea of a giant pumpkin falling on top of me. It does make the worms want to breed more though. So I guess
that was exciting. So I recently discontinued the use of my urban worm bag. So I literally opened up the bottom and let them all come out the bottom, and I sifted through the entire topped off at this point bag. So I sifted through all the worms, everything. It took, I don't know, maybe an hour from the time I stood up off the couch and decided to go do this shit until the time I had a bag full of worm castings. So everything went into that big DIY box that I got going now.
That's awesome. I want to. An hour is amazing. That's like no time at all. That sifter that you purchased might end up being one of the best time freaking savers that you've got this year.
Now that I've got that thing, I've seen the DIY version. I was like, oh, I just don't have the time for it. I am getting more and more time for indoor projects like that, especially like at in the classroom, right? So when it's shop time, I can be, if I could figure that out while they're figuring their little things out or something like that, it would be wonderful. And I want to try and make a DIY one just to kind of see what the difference might actually be. But
I would
this thing was
purchase
absolutely
a
amazing.
sifter from you. I am currently hand sifting still, and it's at the point where I have a backlog, right? Like I've got worm bins that are sitting that need to be changed, but I'm like, I don't want to fucking sift.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
have the
so
time
much
for it.
easier that I literally just threw fucking. I don't.
Was
I
that were
couldn't
you
if
were
I
you
would have waited.
doing were you a gaffer just now? Or are you trying to do some sifting noises?
Yeah, maybe it was
Hell yeah, dude.
poorly executed,
I love
but
it.
um, I literally filled overflow like overextended out a 1 cubic foot bag of
I was gonna say, yeah, it looked like
was
it would
blowing out.
cost way too much money to have it shipped and people would pay it. It looked gorgeous. Johnny's
Um,
primo.
now
Johnny's
they're
primo
they're
shit, bruh.
I did learn tomato seeds do go through the fine sift that I use. So a little bit of perlite and a little bit of bunch of tomato seeds because I top dressed that. This is how we lead back into the cannabis garden here. By the way, the
Somewhere Stony just got an erection.
um the bunch of tomato seeds in this top dressing because I took the White Widow with the thrips needed some attention. It was like couldn't tell what was going on, but like I know this garden needs some attention. So not only did I take, I think most of a breeding tray, if not a whole breeding tray that sat a little too long and just put the whole breeding tray in this 3x3 bed. Because it had that dead rotting root ball from the Hella Jelly that was outside. So it doesn't surprise me that I had issues with thrips. So I was like, I got this big root ball that I know was from a 15-gallon pot that was absolutely depleted of all things nutrients because Hella Jelly was starving because I had to up pot her and whatever. So I knew the 15-gallon pot was empty. But I pulled her up basically by that same 15-gallon pot. It doesn't make any sense that this would have never worked. Anyway, it actually makes
You're discovering
sense.
yeah, it makes sense.
But literally that's what I did. I tried to like shovel and get a bigger scoop of it, but I didn't grab much more fresh new roots at this time. It was destined to die. So, anyways, I had this big 15-gallon void of anything fucking nutrients in the middle of this bed, and that's exactly where I planted this already struggling fucking White Widow. So I know that I needed to top dress, and there's a whole bunch of who knows what's going on. She was growing. As soon as she reached the big soil, she was good and doing really good for a while, and I just kind of let her go. Mind you, it was like a 2-week stress period of like I was already in shock, and I got this transplant now, and you've transplanted me into a fucking dead root ball, you asshole. So
like
it took her a little while,
killer.
but she did immediately start to grow, and it was just like, okay, now I'm starting to see like a deficiency or something. So I gave a good, I think like six cups of craft blend and worm
6
castings,
cups?
and yeah, I got 70 gallons of soil.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been top dressed in a long time. So yeah, I would say, well, 1.5, no, maybe 3, would have been 4 cups with the amount of scoops I put in. Would have been 4 cups. So, and then chopped there was a bunch of pumpkin growing in there and tomatoes and stuff, chopped all those down, put a bunch of worm castings, maybe an inch or 2 thick over top of that. And then, paper bags, brown paper bags. I chop those all up to put everything under the light, and then put a little more worm castings over top of that for now to like water in. And that's where I'm seeing the tomato seeds starting to like pop up in this. It's like, you little sons of bitches. But anyways, I'll have cover crop here, but it's just going to be tomatoes.
No, but the all the worm castings, man, that and the craft blend, that bed's going to be ready to go.
I'm hoping. I got to do the same thing with the other 3x3. So I just started to get that watered back up because that's been neglected and drying out. So,
Do you have any idea what's going in yet, or are you still kicking it around in your head?
nope, because I had some company this weekend, and this is where I was going to lead into. So when Flam and Grateful and Too Tall were here this weekend, Flam brought some stuff called Organoshield. I think it's some sort of enzyme based. He's way more qualified to talk about it than I am, but we put it in the canifogger to spray for the thrips. After that, so the other thing I put in there was all the the defoliation got fucking top dressed with my beautiful worm castings, right? So I've got rove beetles, I've got fucking predator mites. So all the leaves that I chopped off. Exactly. I buried those on top of 2 inches of worm casting. So it's like, take that, cocksuckers. And then
revenge.
Yeah. So, and then I tried spraying this Organoshield stuff with the canifogger. And dude, this thing's a piece of shit, man. It worked great for a little while, but I can't even charge the fucking thing anymore. It was like barely spitting and sputtering. And I was like, well, this was fun, but
oh no, cheap Chinese products.
Yeah, it got me. So you know what I did is I went to the sink and I grabbed a spray bottle, got it all cleaned up, and then filled the 32-ounce spray bottle. Oh no, it was a Captain Jack's bottle I found laying around. I was like, fuck yeah, I went and rinsed that thing out. It was just a spray bottle. It was 32 ounces, and I filled it up with the Organoshield and some fucking water and gave her a good dousing the other day. I haven't opened the tent up yet, but I know I need to water because they're getting really dry because I'm watering through that brown paper bag and a bunch of castings. So
yeah, so it's not all. It's a lot of it's getting taken before it even gets there.
Yeah.
But well, I'm glad. I'm glad. How was the whole bullshit weekend that I wasn't invited to?
Dude, it was right. We had so much fun.
Good.
Just so chill with like three or four guys just randomly having a fucking meetup like that and just chilling and no fucking problems. No, just everybody having a fucking blast. Too Tall getting put to the couch and I also Flam poisoned me.
That sounds like something a Scott would do.
Yeah, rat bastard. No, we did some pressing and we went live in the Discord or whatever and hung out there for a little while and forgot we were in there. I think at a bunch of points, there was a lot of flour and the press and wax getting passed around and shit. We pressed some Hella Jelly, some Dakar Haze, couple other things too. Everything pressed really well. It was surprising. Even some of the drier stuff was pressing really well. He only had one blowout, so bravo, grateful. He's quite the presser. And it actually was the Dakar Haze that put Too Tall down. It does. He was like had quite the fun reaction to that one specifically. He forgot how to talk.
Yeah, you stole his breath away.
Shit, that was funny.
Quite literally.
Yeah. I ended
I'm
up
not jealous at all.
Quite a bit from being poisoned.
That'll do you.
Yeah.
You get too high, you start getting dizzy?
No, it was some fucking something I forget what the name, the Kratom or some shit like that. It's supposed to really help with Kratom. Yeah, it's supposed to help with some ADHD and mental clarity and focus and shit. And I was like, all right, cool. And about 10 minutes later, it was like, okay, not cool. So
yeah, I don't fuck with Kratom.
Yeah, it didn't do well for me. So I probably wouldn't fuck with it again. But during this there was quite the seed exchange happening.
Excellent.
And so Too Tall brought his one of the most well organized seed collections I've ever seen. He's got, I forget what it was, like a empty paint drawers or empty postcard or picture boxes or something like that. It's really cool, like organization fucking thing. And he's got them all like, of course he has a label maker and they're all label makered, and we ramsacked his stash. He's so fucking awesome for opening it up. And I took two or three different genetics, and while we were there and they were all doing the seed exchange, and I said, you guys have motivated me, I'm gonna get off my ass, and I went and got my bit of soil and some fucking planter cups and filled them up and direct sowed 4 different types, or 4 different breeders, or 3 different breeders, 3 different breeders,
That was a
4
roller
different
coaster.
strains. That was fun for me. I was itching at the same time too, so that was fun. Raw genetic. So these 2, I took 2 from Too Tall. I think another one. No, these 2. I don't remember. 3, 2, whatever. Anyways, the banana runs from Soulfire. I'm gonna run those. And orange something Paulus Parvis. Something I can't even remember from Raw Genetics. And then the raspberry parfait and pineapple muffin from Humboldt.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I planted 2 each of all 4 of those. That was on Sunday. And I just, today being Friday, I know it's Sunday when we release this, but they say don't say that on a podcast, but we do it all the time. Anyways, that's
They
our
say
cross
don't
the
date
bear.
the podcast, and you
Yeah.
literally gave the today's date earlier, and I was like, hell yeah.
Just because
You're like, today is December 20th, and I'm like, fuck yeah, dating the podcast.
Also,
who cares?
I love to read the reviews that we get, so it's funny because it's like, I'm not gonna get into it because I'll go down a rabbit hole, but they're fun. Anyways, I planted 2 each of the of each of those, and just today one of the banana runs, which is, mind you, the one I would probably most excited, because I am excited to see if I get any sort of banana terps from this at all, because I have never smelled in cannabis banana terps, so that'll be fun. That's the one I'm most excited about. Something else, I got some sort of cherry something or other from Too Tall as well. I don't remember what exactly, but I thought I grabbed something cherry from him. I couldn't even remember from who. Maybe from Erie. Something cherry from Erie Genetics or something.
Now you're just making places up. So our buddy showed up to your house with his seed collection to show off and show how organized and cool he is, and you all robbed him.
Yep, basically, yeah.
That's no wonder that he stopped talking. I don't think it was the cannabis. I think it was the he was in shock that he just got robbed.
Yeah, I got raped.
Yeah.
Shit.
That sounds wonderful. So Flam, who pressed the stuff that he bred and knocked out Too Tall, couldn't convince you to grow any of his seeds?
He didn't bring any. So
really,
I didn't have the money for the drop, so I did not. And also they're autoflower, so I probably wouldn't. And he knows that about me. So
I know. I figured he would try and get you to grow for him or grow some for him.
It would fall on my big deaf ears.
I know. That's what I was hoping to hear. I was hoping that you got so high that you agreed to it, but I guess he was busy with robbing Too Tall. It's okay.
I'm not sure what I am going to plant. I got to plant one autoflower because I have that one tent that's got a whole bunch of knife holes, and it just is more suited for an autoflower run. I don't feel like worrying about all the issues, and I'm pretty sure it got like a chipmunk or a rat or something chewed through the fucking bottom of it. So,
it's
like,
safer to worry about lightly.
Yeah, rather than because it did. Like I realized I had a fucking chipmunk or something because it's a garage, so I had a chipmunk or something get through, and these are pressed up against where it got through, so it was climbing behind them. And yeah, when I went to go clean in the spring cleaning, I was like, motherfucker, there's fucking cocksucker chewed my fucking tent. So this is an autoflower tent.
There you go. Well, I think to be fair to the chipmunk or rat, the knife damage might have made it an autoflower tent before it was chewed.
Yeah, exactly. Someday I'll upgrade this 2x4 tent and everything will be hunky dory. But until such a time, until such a clatter or roll such a
I
clatter.
think it's, bros. Yeah. Now, are you going to read the rest of that Christmas poem? Because I think this is a great segue into this being dropped shortly before your favorite holiday.
I will not read the rest of that poem. No, I won't, because I it goes something like on Dasher, on Dancer, on Comet, on Cupid.
Yeah, on Prancer was before that, but yeah.
Yeah. So
Was the night before Christmas?
And all through the house. And
I'm
all
not
I
gonna
want to
actually
do is
continue.
kill
Yeah.
that stupid motherfucking mouse.
And
Or the chipmunk, whatever it was. But I'm back to like square one with what I would want to plant for in the autoflower. Oh, I also did have that panic motion where I fucking traded you some seeds and I couldn't find the fucking card of the tangy card. I was like, where's the tangy card? Oh my god. Do you know I like delicately put it on the top shelf inside of my fridge instead of in the fucking crisper drawer of such. So it was in safe
because you were
hands all
looking
along.
ahead. Yeah. You were
I
thinking
was.
ahead.
Yes, but
How
I lost
kindly
it
of you.
in such a transition. I am a loser of things.
Oh, it's acceptable. We all lose things. I lose things all the time.
But so to round it out, the yesterday I got to open it up because yesterday was the organic shield spray with the really good spraying. And so first of all, when I sprayed the first time, the next day she was praying like she wasn't praying before. The plant was absolutely raging, praying like, oh, that's cool, that's beautiful to see. So I want to get in there after we're done recording and check out to see, because she got the really good dousing of the Organic Shield. And from what I can tell, the damage from thrips has been really minimized with what we've done with the spraying and everything so far. So I've been really excited to see the results from what this thing is going to do. And then if all of these females pop from the from the cups that got planted, all 4 of them pop in both of all. So I'd end up with 8. I've got my 4x4 here, another 2x4 to do a single one in, and then the rest are gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with them over at Dad's. And I think we're gonna switch to earth boxes because of the watering to fruition issue.
Yeah. Just so much easier not having to worry about floods and everything like that.
Yep. So at this point, it's kind of like see what I can go from there, and then hopefully have some really successful flower runs so I can get my stash up, because I really am ambitious to see maybe do the haze, the OG haze over at Dad's house, put the pollen over there, and then keep the flower going over here. But I want to get our stash up first. We got to get our stash up.
You got to get that account, the head stash account built.
So I think that's what I'm going to do over this winter. This winter run is going to be the head stash run, and then play with like a fucking haze run.
Hell yeah, man!
Early spring, hopefully. So
well, that's a wonderful forecast.
The White Widow has been flipped to flower, so that's on the run, and sprayed with Organic Shield, and the seeds have been planted. So here we go.
How wonderful, dude. You know what? That makes me very optimistic for the new year. closing out the year well and starting it with new vigor.
And then hopefully we have some good news by the Christmas time. But Jesus, that was a long what's going on in my garden. What about you, man? How's it? What the fuck is up with yours? What's your update?
Nah, man, nothing. I don't grow.
Mm.
Thanks for joining. No.
How about them ants?
Yeah, fuck off. They're living in a box, I'm sure. No, you know what? I had Space Station Gold, which was by far the loudest plant that I've ever grown.
I saw you say that somewhere.
It was amazing and also almost borderline annoying. And I mean that in the least sincere way possible, but it was just like, oh no, I can't defo because I can't have my neighbors smell this, right? Like it was having to keep the tent closed and like rush watering it and shit, like just to keep people from noticing. It was
That's
so
fucking
loud.
hilarious. It's so
Yeah, man,
it's so weird because I like coming home to that and going, fuck, man. I wonder if
No.
the neighbors can smell this. And you're going,
here's
fuck, man.
here's
I wonder
the
if the fucking
funniest
neighbors can smell.
And it just complete bullshit anecdotal evidence, but it further cements my theory of balance, right? Grow the terpiest, most loud, beautiful plant that just smells wonderful, but having not the ability to smell it because at the time there's a lot of heat on you from your neighbors complaining about the smell. It is very, very balanced, right?
Right.
So, but she's come down. I've got her.
How much of that was
That's-
maintained throughout the dry?
Not much, to be honest with you, dude.
Good. You shouldn't smell it drying.
Yeah. I have in the Alabria tent, I have a tangy back cross currently going, and then I have in my do-it-yourself tote that I made. I've got I believe it's a Frogception in flower. I can't really remember, which is kind of the problem because there were so many.
You didn't take notes?
No. I took notes, but the issue was I had so many. I had false starts that I cut one back because it was stunted, and then I had a couple of seeds that I planted, and then they didn't come up, and then I had two that came up, but they came up like a week after I had planted it, and so I'd already planted something else. And so I kind of like there's 3 or 4 things it could be. It's just whatever right now. However, in that same tote, I have a bunch 3 solo cups that I do know are Frogception that are rocking in my Alabria tent. And then in the tent that had my Space Station Gold, luckily I was able to chop it because the tangy decided to blow up and touch my lights. So I actually had to break her down and bend her twice because the first time I did it, she rebounded the next day.
Twice.
Yeah.
Did you main stem?
Yep.
Just bent the whole main stem?
Yeah, man. I bend and twist, right? Just slowly start twisting it, breaking it, and then I bent it. And the first time I bent it, she came back literally the next day. Like nothing phased her. So fuck, I had to do it again. And so I had to go lower, got it lower, and she's rebounding even now. Like now it's been about a week since I did it, but she's almost come back up to where I've been looking like, man, I might have to do it again.
Jesus. Now the Space Station Gold was in the same tent. Did you have to move it out?
Well, I chopped her. So luckily, because everything was staggered, which is the reason why I wasn't able to set my normal dry tent up, right? Is because I still had both plants in both my tents. And because I had to reset one or both, I had to reset 2 earth boxes. So they were like 50 days or 30 days behind the other box. So it was just kind of a juggling bullshit scenario, which I try to avoid because I try and make my life much easier. But yeah, now Tangy's in the tent by herself. which I got very lucky on the timing that way. So I consider that some pretty good luck. But she's only
Yeah,
on
'cause
like day 56.
Jesus. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a giant, man. I've seen those pictures. It's like, holy fucking shit.
She's the biggest. She's the tallest otto I've ever grown.
And that's the that's the
58.
back cross.
She's the back cross, the tangy
Yep.
back cross. Yeah, real slow
Yep.
starter. But she's beautiful. She's huge.
Are you getting any
not,
terps yet?
Not yet. The one back cross in the other tent, she's slightly louder. I mean, I guess it's one isn't loud and one has a smell, so I guess slightly would be an odd thing to say there. But she very much tropical, typical tangy, like sweet. But it's very mild. Like I'm not getting very much of it yet. I'm excited to see. And it's also interesting because in that same tent is that other plant that I have that's further along in flower, and I'm not getting much from her at the moment. So tangy once again over. I mean, like I am when I'm close to it, but away from it, tangy's overpowering her, even as mild as tangy is.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm kind of cruising. The furthest plant I have is along is like day 61. So, and they're both kind of still in the Guy Fieri spiked bullshit early flower. So I've got some time, man.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited then.
It's my favorite part. Like, all right, you've done showing me what you're gonna give me. You got a little bit left in you, but that's basically like you're flowering at this point. Like it's fly. Yeah. Real
it is
flower
super fun
begins
to
at
see
that
them chunk
Fieri
out.
phase.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they start getting really dense in areas and things start getting real pretty and everything. But I think my favorite will always be that right when they hit flower, they start flower and they start stretching and getting, they just change so much. It's fun to see.
Yep.
Part of the reason I like it so much, right? You open your tent every single day and there's noticeable differences.
Yeah, like from day to day, literally.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking, I think we've had some people a couple inches a day, right? I think my record is like 2 inches a day. It's always crazy when it's noticeable, right? You have some stickers on the back or something and you're like, oh shit. That's how I always judge things.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it's
sort of mark on the back of the tent or something. Yep.
Yeah. It's nice to be cruising at this time of year, right? Like I've got my nephews in town, my sister's in town, like going to be doing a bunch of family stuff. And it's nice to just basically be on filling res duty.
Filling
the res.
Yeah, just filling up the reservoir. Yeah. Yep. Just
that's all. That's
easy street.
I'm at the stage where like I've top dressed twice on the large tangy. It's slowly getting towards more into flower. It's done stretching as much, so I'm gonna give it another one here not too soon, and that's it pretty much. So now it's just make sure the res is full and watch.
I've got a conundrum with one of my fucking earth boxes. Like, have you found you've got an earth box that you've mounted up so high you're like, now I'm worried about having to dump and re-amend? Have you like this mount is probably
where it got too
3
big
inches over the top of the rim?
Yeah, so I haven't gotten quite that high because when I don't mound as much as I layer throughout. Like I try and space evenly as around and avoid the mound only because when it gets up that high, you do have to do something because it's such a pain in the ass when you can't put any more top dressing on.
Yeah. So
you can, you know what I think you could do is you could just scrape it and start, right?
I'm having the same problem with my other big bed too. It's like I'm suggesting like, yeah, maybe that might be the answer, scraping that mulch layer off and then starting a brand new one. Like, as long as there's not just a nasty root ball at the bottom of that, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, as long
I
as it
haven't.
has
This has been a
aeration.
while. I'm so curious because this has been shit. Man, this thing's got to be 18 months at the youngest, and probably
Yeah, I mean,
30 months at the oldest. This is
and
probably
you're
one of
still
my
going strong,
original
yeah.
Earth boxes, and I have not dumped it. And yeah, so it's curious. I've got easily 5 or 6 grows on this thing mounted up. So
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're gonna have to. I mean, I think you have to reach a point because the worry is that if you take off the top layer completely, you're just left with pretty nutrient deficient soil.
yeah, so you got to start like from zero, start with like a cover crop or something, and then
Yeah, exactly, and start building it
or
that
a
way.
really nitrogen rich something, and then
Either way, you can't just
yeah.
I wouldn't recommend scraping and just planting into it, right? Because you're gonna have to really heavily load.
Yeah, it's gonna have to
soil
have
with
something to start.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
then you
sure.
can go heavy. But even then, like if you've got nothing, the amount that you're gonna have to top dress and stuff like that to get it up to that level, you just have to time it right.
Right.
But
Curious. Yep.
that's really all I got. I mean, I'll go into like what I'm gonna plant and stuff when we get closer, because it could all change tomorrow and I'm still a couple weeks away.
I know,
And
yeah.
quite
Like
frankly, I don't want to rob myself of the future get out of
exactly.
the conversation free card.
Right.
It's guaranteed 15 minutes of my time in one of these episodes, dude. Why spoil it now?
Love
So if you don't mind, I'll go into the sermon,
pre-Christmas sermon.
Yeah, and then we'll bounce out of here for Christmas, and we'll meet here before the new year. What do you think about that, my dear friend?
I think Feliz Navidad.
Oh, there you go. Now, I know this is going to get hard for you because it is very Christmassy, but I do want to say Merry Christmas, my dear friend. I am thankful that I get to do this podcast with you and just sit and talk bullshit. I also want to wish Merry Christmas to all our fans. We don't have any, so that was easy. But seriously, to all of our friends and anyone in the YAG family, Merry Christmas. Thank you for being a part of the community. One of the things that really we try and stress as much as we can is that our community is way cooler than we are.
That's the truth.
Yeah, man. There was a lot of conversations that we had about all these influencers and shit. And I think one thing that really stands out is a lot of those people really think that the best thing about what they do is themselves, right? Like they're the entertainment, when I think that's the direct opposite of us. It's like our community is the best part about us. Like the cool friends that we have are way cooler than any of the shit you and I can do.
No doubt.
And well, we just want to highlight those cool people.
We are riding their coattails.
Hell yes. And I don't do it for some altruistic reason. I really am that lazy, and it's the easiest work of just like, that guy's cool. Let's bum off of him.
Yep.
This episode is sponsored by Alabriad.
But Merry Christmas.
No, but seriously, Merry Christmas to all the Yaggers. Let's try and be just better to each other to end out the year, and don't be a dick. Mind your own business and go with Frog.
Amen. And Merry Christmas back at you, man. I quite enjoy what we've done here and sitting down and just fucking literally releasing and just fucking, it's an endorphin rush. Yeah, just chilling and being us, and what we fucking just like doing.
Before we get out of here, though, and I do love that, I can't let you get too cheesy. It's uncomfortable for both of us, but a little behind inside baseball here. I totally forgot that there's going to be another episode before the new year. So before my sermon, I was going to do a whole New Year shit, and then I'm like, oh wait, there's another Sunday before.
Probably, yeah.
Oops. So that was, again, that's how well we prepare. I love you, dude. Thank you for listening, guys.
And thank you for listening. Peace.
See ya.